In this video, you're going to learn a method that's called Unitary Method. It is similar to the Unitary Method that we used in the topic of percentages, and that involves finding how much one part is, then the required total number of parts. In the first question, the ratio of teachers to students is 1 to 27. Part A, if there are 43 teachers, how many students are there? To do questions like this, you have to write out a very organized approach. So starting off with writing down what the numbers are referring to, always writing down the labels. So we will write down teachers, ... students, to remind us what the order is for the numbers. So that is 1 to 27 from the question. Now, part A says, assuming that there are 43 teachers, how many students will there be? So I will write 43 in the teachers column, and I will write down a question mark for students because we don't know what that is. Now, if you remember back in our equivalent ratios lesson, I said that you can compare ratios to each other, or you can compare the numbers within the same ratio, and you will apply the same proportions to both. So taking this particular question, I can go downwards like this. So I have expanded from the number 1 to the number 43. How many times have I enlarged my original number? Your answer should be 43 times, because 1 times 43 is equal to 43. So in the same way, I have to expand on the right-hand side by the same proportion. The number of students needed should also be 43 times larger. So using our calculator, we have 27 times 43. That gives us 1,161. So that tells me the final answer that is required for student numbers is equal to 1161. So 1,161 students are there if the proportion is kept. In part B, we changed the question slightly to ask, if there are 945 students, how many teachers are there? I'm going to write down the same setup. Teachers to students is still in the ratio of 1 to 27. This time we have 945 students. And we don't know how many teachers are needed to meet that number. So the question now we're going to ask ourselves, what is an easy way to work this out? I'm going to go from 27 to 1 in this direction, because I know that the teacher needed is 27 times less than the number of students. So following my arrow from 27 to 1, I would have to divide by 27. 27 divided by 27 is equal to 1. Therefore, I must follow the same reduction for the bottom numbers. I will also divide 945 by 27. Note that my arrows are always going in the same directions because you want the numbers to be matching in their sizes. Using the calculator, let's do this. 945 divided by 27 is equal to 35. Hence, that's telling me the number of teacher that is needed is equal to 35. 35 teachers. In question number 2, the ratio of Tim's spending to savings is 7:2. If he saved $80, how much did he spend? First, we're going to write down what the ratios represent. So writing down spending, savings in a proportion, 7:2. And if he has saved 80, that means you're going to put 80 in the savings column. How much would he have spent, or could he spend, if he was to keep the same ratio? Now, in this question, as I'm looking at it, I see that it's easy to work out the link between 2 and 80 because I can see 2 being a factor of 80. So 2 times something gives you 80. Now, if you're not sure what that something is, you can always do the reverse by dividing. So 80 divided by 2 is 40. Therefore, 2 times 40 must give you 80. I will do the same thing on the left-hand side. 7 times 40 must give us the number required for spending. So using the calculator, we have 40 times 7, or 7 times 40. That's equal to 280. Therefore, he would have spent $280. In part B, start off by setting up the question just like before. Spending versus savings in the ratio 7:2. This time he has spent 1,260, and we would like to know how much he earned together. Okay, so it means that we want to know how much he was able to earn so that he can divide it into the spending and the savings part. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write down a question mark for the amount of savings. After we find that value, we can then add all the money together to find out how much he was able to earn. Okay. I'm going to try and see if 7 can be divided into 1,260 easily. So 1,260 divided by 7 equals to 180. So in other words, 7 times 180 must give us 1,260. I'm going to do the same thing on the right-hand side. 2 lots of 180 give us 360. So 360 is the amount of money that he has saved based on this ratio. Now, what is the total earning? The total earning is how much he spends plus how much he saves. So adding these two together, 1,260 plus 360 gives us $1,620. Last question. A scaling triangle's sides are in the ratio of 10:8:7. Now, a scaling triangle is a triangle that such that all sides are different lengths. Okay. If the shortest side is 10.5 centimeters, how long is the longest side? Okay, we are going to write that down in order. So we have our longest versus middle length versus the shortest. And they're in the ratio of 10 to 8 to 7. Now, the reason why I know which one each of these are is because you can tell by comparing the size of the numbers. The larger the size of the number, the greater the actual number is, because they need to be kept in proportion. Now, according to this, it's asking us how long the longest side is. I will put a question mark here. And it is then asking us for the shortest side. Now, the shortest side is 10.5, so I will write it under the shortest column. 10.5 is written here. Now, we don't really need to know how long the mid-length one is, so we're just concerned with these two that's given to us. Okay, now in this question, you're going to be comparing them. And let's just check out a couple of divisions to see if things work out well for us. So I'm going to just check for the shortest side. 10.5, does it divide 7 easily? Yes, it does. So what is this telling us is that when you multiply 7 by 1.5, it will give you an answer of 10.5. This, and I will have to also do the same thing on the left to keep the same ratio. So what is 10 times 1.5? That's just 15. So that's equal to 15. Now the units that's given to us for this measurement is centimeters. Hence we know the longest side is 15 centimeters. Okay. Now for question B, it's asking, what is the perimeter of this triangle? What does perimeter mean? Perimeter means distance around a shape, okay? So distance around the outside of a shape. So that means we need all three sides. And currently we only have two of them. So we have to now go back and work out what the third side is, which is the middle length, the medium length one. Okay, so doing the same thing, we've got to keep the same proportion. I will also times this one by 1.5. 8 times 1.5 gives us 12. So the mid length is going to be 12 centimeters. Okay, so this question then could be answered by adding all the sides together. So the perimeter is equal to 15 plus 12 plus 10.5. You can put this into the calculator, and that's going to be equal to 37.5 centimeters. Remember to always put units on if it's a measurement question.